Hi everyone, welcome to my booktube. My name is Manaswini and I'm currently an English and Communication student at the University of Exeter, and I love it. But the downside to studying a literature degree when you love reading is that you don't really love reading anymore because it's all you're doing all the time. And I thought that I wanted to get back into reading for the 2025 year. I started university last year and I thought, why not document that journey, reading books that I've always wanted to read. I read all kinds of books and I will be reading a lot of variety, I hope, apart from just what's trending. I will be reading those as well. So I think it'll be a nice fresh watch for someone who wants to watch something different. And like a more realistic reading approach to a lot of other booktubers. So I thought, why not? I think some people might be interested in watching me. I also thought I could do some like content around university and things if anyone would be interested in knowing that, because I know that I was really interested in finding out more about how English works at uni, etc. So I might be doing some of that. I have sort of a bucket list. There's a lot. I'll probably make a different video on that, talking about my like bucket list of books I want to read this year, etc. But I thought that this would be something interesting to do for myself. And if you know me in real life, no you don't. I thought for my first ever video I would talk to you about the books that I chose to bring to university. They're right here. These are all the books that I chose to bring to university, and the reason that this is important, or this was a tough choice, is because I am an international student. I've shifted from Singapore to the UK, which means that I had like 3 suitcases to pack all of my stuff in. Everything that is in this, everything that I need to sustain myself was in 3 suitcases. I did not send anything like by air or like by parcels. So these were a choice. I really had to like pick these books. I thought this would be a great way to introduce you to my reading taste, what I like, what I don't like, why I chose these books. I know there are like beginner like tags out there where you answer questions and things as like your first booktube video and stuff, but I thought this was a better way for you to get to know me. So let's see what I got. And I also thought it was interesting. I thought it's something that I would click on. So I haven't seen one of these ever. I haven't seen anyone talk about like the books they chose to bring to university. So the first one is kind of like a little bonus book. Technically a book that I chose to bring is my school's yearbook. This was created by a few of my classmates. This is not from our school. This is made with our classmates. Their names are on the back. Credits. So credits to them. So it's great. It's all of my memories from school. I had to bring it with me. I got the physical copy. They made a digital version and they offered a physical one. I got the physical one. So this is one of the books that I chose to bring, and this is very like close to my heart. I'll see if I can find a picture of me and my friends, and this is a cute one. This is a very raw picture of me and my friends. I need to, I guess, ask all these people for their permission to put their face on YouTube, but I don't think they would mind, to be fair. Okay, now let's get into the actual books that I got. I have 6 books which I brought with me, which is a lot. Like, this is a lot, especially since if you look at this one, these are big books, except like this one's a small one. These are hefty. The first one is The Palace of Illusions. You can't really see that. The Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. She has written a bunch of books. I'm not sure if she's written a lot of historical fiction, but she writes a lot of sort of mythical things. I feel she writes a lot about royalty, but this book specifically is a retelling of the Indian epic Mahabharata, which culminates in a war, and it's from the perspective of Draupadi, who is one of the main female protagonists. And this epic, like most epics, is very complex. So for me, when I first heard of this book, I was like, who would be crazy enough to undertake this task of writing this book? But she has done it justice, and how. Like, this is a 6 out of 5 stars for me. The reason I chose to bring this with me is not only just because I love it and it's incredible and it's one of my most marked books, if not my most marked book of all time, but also because I thought it would be great for when I was homesick and I missed home. And I have read it. I had read it before I came, so it would be a nice like reread. Also, if I was in a reading slump and I wanted to like read a book that I knew would get me out of it, that I really loved. So that's why we have this. And I have actually already lent this to one of my friends who's doing a PhD. So she's like a didi actually. She's like way older than me. But yeah, so books are also great to help you make friends. Bring good books to uni and make friends. The next one, it's an interesting one. I also got this technically with me. It's the Mammoth Book of Literary Anecdotes, as you can see. Over 5 centuries of recollections, essays, and quotes, which have been put together by Philip Goodin. And clearly, as you can see, this is an old book. I borrowed this from a bookshelf we have at my nanny's house, my grandmother's house. I don't know which of my mother and her siblings this belongs to, but it probably belongs to one of them. And I just thought this would be interesting to bring because I'm studying literature, and I thought it would be cool to read about like little anecdotes of different literary figures. And the most interesting thing about this book is, if you look at the contents, everything has been categorized in such interesting categories, like ranging from inspiration to last words to law to mistakes and money and reputation and writing. It's very interesting. And I've started, and the best part is I don't have to read all of it at one go. You can read little bits of it at times. So I thought this would be just something fun to have, and I thought I should read it as a literature student. So that's why I got that. The next one, it's a very important one. This one, which is Mrs. Funnybones by Twinkle Khanna. This stays on my desk. Everything else stays in my bookshelf, but this stays on my desk because this is my inspiration. This is all of my writing inspiration, ideologically as well, in a way. If you don't know Twinkle Khanna, she has written columns for the Times of India and maybe for a couple of other outlets as well, but like I think everyone knows her work from Times of India. And she has also been an actor in Bollywood for some time. Shout out to Prisha, by the way, who lent me this book. She didn't lend it to me, sorry, I'm sorry. Shout out to Prisha who gave me this book. She just gave it to me, like, yo, like take it, keep it, thank God, because this is incredible. So essentially this, what it is just like A to Z of different like funny, witty anecdotes from her life. And she is married to a very famous Bollywood actor as well, Akshay Kumar. So she doesn't mention their names in this though. She calls him the man of the house, or like her children each have their own like epithets basically, like associated with them, so you know it's them, but it's not, she doesn't ever refer to them by themselves. And it's so cool. And she has some of the most witty, like great, like it's just beautiful writing, and every time I read it I feel like writing just the way that she does. And I thought it would be great inspiration to have it with me. And again, homesickness, this makes me feel right at home because I'm from Mumbai originally, and this just reminds me so much of home, and like it's literally a rickshaw. So again, that as well, a little dose of Bollywood, like something I can just pick up with like a coffee or a tea. So yeah, love it. The next book is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is, again, so far all of these books except the non-fiction one has been a reread. So is this, as you can see. Hamnet is a novel inspired by the son of a famous playwright, a boy whose life has been all but forgotten, but whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays ever written. And I love it. It's very poignant and beautiful. It has some of the most beautiful writing I've read in my entire life. This is one of the best written books I've ever read, maybe the best. I remember reading this and being like, this is what literature is. This is why I love it. It was beautiful, impactful, and just so like succinct, you know, like it said everything beautifully. And I loved the love story, I loved the relationships between the siblings, I loved the ending. I remember being very impactful, and I just loved it. So yeah, it was incredible and everyone should read this, and so I can't wait to reread this. I decided I'm going to England. I'm going, even though I know Shakespeare's from Scotland, but I was like, I'm going to the United Kingdom. I need to read this book there. I need to reread it there and annotate it there. And again, something to get me out of a reading slump if I was ever in one. I thought that this would be a great book to read. It's not about Shakespeare. It's not a book that you read to find out more about Shakespeare. It's just, it treats him like any other playwright, essentially, right? And it's more about Hamlet, and it's just a great book, so I had to bring it with me. Okay, going to the last two books. Are we surprised? This is the first book so far that I have not read, which is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. A classic on BookTube, BookTok, it's everywhere. I know I actually did not mean to really read this book. Like, I really didn't ever feel like, oh, I have to read this book because I saw it everywhere. But yeah, I mean, of course I knew about it and I wanted to someday read it. I wasn't crazy about it, but one of my friends, again, shout out Yukta, she wanted to read it over the summer, or when she was off to university. We had this plan that we would read it together on the airplane, essentially. I mean, her on hers and me on mine, respective planes. But so yeah, we went to Kinokuniya, which is one of the biggest bookstores, and we both got A Little Life with each other. I'm not sure if we signed it inside. We might have. I might have made her sign it or something. I'm not sure. Why do I have a feeling that I did? Okay, maybe I didn't. But yeah, we spent that whole day together, and it was our last hurrah together before we went off to uni. And this is more like that little friendship memory for me, and this is also a book about friendship, so it's kind of it's kind of on theme. But yeah, this is one book I have not read, and I thought I would bring it to uni because I had to read it at some point. So I brought it because I hadn't read it yet, and I thought that I was gonna read it on the plane. I had this in my bag when I was sitting in my plane, but I couldn't bring myself to start a book I knew was going to be depressing in my beginning of a good time of my life, in the beginning of university. I didn't want to pick up a depressing book, so I never ended up picking it up. But it's there. It's one of the ones I brought. The deed is done. But actually, weirdly, one of my closest friends here at Exeter, Roma, again, shout out to Roma, she has this, and she had not read it for the longest time, and she had also brought it to uni to read it, and she was reading it last month, and she asked me if I was, and we could connect over this as well. So again, books, friendship. Okay, moving on to the final book, which is by far the most important book to me. I told my mom or my friends or maybe myself that if I could bring no other book and just this book, I would still be happy. If you took away every other book from me but kept this book, that's all I want. It is A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. This huge book. I don't think you understand how big this book is. I don't think you understand how big and huge and thick and heavy this book is to carry in a bag, where you should probably be prioritizing your school books or something. It's 1,474 pages long. Leo Tolstoy who? War and Peace who? What? So yeah, this book, what do I even say about this book? This is my favorite book of all time. This is my favorite adult book of all time. I always say that A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett is my favorite book of all time, and that is my favorite book. But that's my favorite book when I was a child, and I still connect with it on a soul level. But this book is my favorite book of all time. This is my actual favorite book of all time. Every page of this was worth it. Every freaking page was worth it. I was immersed in this book, and I have marked a lot more than just this. I just haven't tabbed it. You can see this has been marked here. that I haven't tabbed the pages because I didn't feel like tabbing them. I just liked the feeling of having just a few of these. I liked the look of that. I didn't want to inundate it with so many tabs and ruin the feel. I like the way that it feels right now. And I read this book last summer. So in the summer of 2024 I read it, and I was so engaged and immersed in it. I spent hours, like, they say, like, poring over a book. That's how I felt. Like, I was just like in it, I was so in it, and it didn't miss a single moment, and I loved it. And I just realized I didn't tell you what this book is about. If you don't know what this book is about, it is about a mother's quest to finding a suitable boy for her daughter. Sounds very Jane Austen coded, I know, but it's not like that. That's like the thread combining all the characters together, the link between everything. But their lives are crossing over with so many other lives, and this book, to me, the reason I love it is because it's like a mirror to India. It's like a ode to the country, and to, like, it addresses so much there. This is post-partition. It addresses religious feuds, it addresses superstitions, it addresses just the daily way of life, it addresses elections, politicians, it addresses musicians, artists, even like courtesans. A courtesan is like one of the main characters of this book. It addresses a simple girl going to university, finding a husband. It addresses her mother, her sister. It covers this, like, the whole, like, diaspora of everyone, and just doesn't leave out a single detail but it's not boring to me. To me it just reads like a painting of everything ever, and it's just contained in one book, and it's like, it's so interesting to read, like, really. Like, I loved reading about everything happening, and I loved the love story. I loved who Lata ended up with. I loved the adaptation of this on Netflix. If you have seen that, beautiful adaptation, great casting, and I promise you, I did watch the adaptation before I read the book, but it did not ruin the book for me. But it still didn't do a disservice to it either. It has covered everything beautifully, and there are subtle, like, nods to the book which you'll realize if you've read the book, but they're such subtle moments that you wouldn't realize if you had not read the book. And there's still so much more the book has to offer, though, because there are just, simple conversations between, like, a judge and, like, his servant or something, which sounds very boring. I get that it sounds boring, but it's so interesting because it's so realistic. Like, you've probably seen someone talk like that in real life if you've been to India, or if you've lived there, I guess. Just, I love the characters, I love the storylines, I love their own, like, growth, and it's just great. Like, I just enjoyed the story, and I highly recommend, even if you don't read this book and if you're daunted by this, just watch the series on Netflix. It's beautiful. I love the casting, I love the performances, love the adaptation in general. I actually, in fact, as a matter of fact, love the ending that they gave in the adaptation. The essential ending is the same. They've just tweaked the final scene to be a little bit more dramatic, for the show. And the scene is also still there in the book. They've just dramatized it a little. They've just connected a couple of scenes. Like, it's a great stylistic choice. It's a great use of creative freedom. And I actually love that scene a lot more than, like, the way it's revealed in the book. But I still love the book a lot as well. It's fine. I just want to say that the adaptation, in fact, made me fall more in love with the book because of that scene. So yeah, definitely watch the adaptation if you don't want to read this. But this was the big boy. This is the one that I had to bring with me, and it's incredible, and I love it. And I highly recommend this book to anyone. I don't know if you would enjoy it if you're not really connected to India. You might be bored a lot of times. Like, the story is still interesting, the characters are great, but you might not love the sort of fillers. But I think if you can read it in Anna Karenina, about Russia and like the Russian fields and things, you can read about our elections, I think, because I think it's worth it. So yeah, this is a piece of my heart, and I love it since I brought it. And yeah, those are all the books that I brought with me to university. I hope that gave you an idea of the kind of reader I am. I'm not sure if it completely did, but I think it covers a lot of ground of the different kinds of things that I read. If you want to know more, you can follow me on my Goodreads, I guess, to know what I'm currently reading. I'll tell you what I'm currently reading right now. I just finished Watermoon, and it was great. It was good, but it was a little bit, I don't know, at times the writing just felt a bit amateur to me, and I don't know if the worlds that were created were creative but I don't think that they were set up all that well because so much was happening. It was definitely very atmospheric, I'll give it that. It was atmospheric. I just felt sometimes like the whole book was just a bunch of philosophies disguised as dialogue in a way. I don't know, but I gave it a 4 out of 5, I think, because I still really thought it was very creative and different. And if you do like Studio Ghibli, I think you might enjoy that book. So yeah, that's one that I've read recently. And I'm currently reading, what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading Frankenstein for school. Let me just bring it. Reading this for university, for school, if you want to see. Yep. I might do a video on English and also maybe communications here at the University of Exeter, because I would have loved to watch a video like that before I came, so I might do something like that as well. So if you see this and if this reaches you and if you have dared to watch till the end and you want to see that, do let me know in the comments. But yeah, that is something I'm reading as well at the moment. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.